everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Ivana Hinecka, Marketing Manager at Spire Global, and I'm thrilled to welcome you all today for the reveal of the new mission for Spire Global, Mission Control and Canadian Space Agency. Today at the stage, we're joined with Teresa Condor, the Chief Operating Officer of Spire Global, Ewan Reid, Founder and CEO of Mission Control, and Canadian Space Agency President, Lisa Campbell. During today's announcement, our respective speakers will briefly introduce themselves, their organizations, and of course the details of the mission. It will be followed by a brief Q&A, so please stick around and ask your questions after. So without further ado, giving the floor to Teresa Condor.
Thanks, Ivana. Hi everyone, as Ivana said, I'm Teresa Condor, Chief Operating Officer of Spire Global. I'm also one of the co-founders of the company. At its core, Spire is a space company. However, we're very focused on solving big problems right here on Earth. We work with our customers and give them access to our satellite constellation platform, data and analytics that let them make the world a better place through improved sustainability, security, and prosperity. Spire designs, owns, and operates a fully deployed satellite constellation. We have more than 180 satellites to date. As far as I'm aware, I think that's the largest multi-purpose constellation that is out there today. We're very specifically focused on the deployment of radio frequency technologies, and we do this related to applications for maritime, for weather, for aviation, as well as for spoofing and jamming detection. Now, specifically related to what we're talking about today, Spire Space Services gives our commercial and government customers the access to a resilient space platform, to our global ground station network, to our extensive launch relationships, and specifically to our constellation operations capability. And all of this is technology that we at Spire use ourselves and that our core data businesses rely on. Over the last 3 years, we've worked with more than 30 different companies through our space services, helping them with missions that are quite varied across use cases, from Earth observation to connectivity to ISR. And most recently, specifically related to AI in space. And we're very excited to be working with Mission Control, with the Canadian Space Agency, and helping to build the sector in Canada. So I'm going to pass it to...
Thank you very much. I'm Ewan Reid, founder and CEO of Mission Control. We're a Canadian company that develops software for Earth, Moon, and Mars. I'm really excited that you're all here today for this exciting announcement. I'm going to start by telling a little story, which is when we first got started as a company almost 10 years ago, the first contract we ever won, the first revenue we ever accrued, was to develop a prototype AI system that would help a Mars rover navigate, and it was a contract from the Canadian Space Agency. They sent us down to the desert to test out that system, that AI on a real rover, and along the way we needed to find a way to operate that rover in a space-like way, and that was the starting point for our Spacefarer product that some of you might have heard about. And I mention that because it's being used on several upcoming lunar missions, which is really exciting. But we're more than just rovers, we're more than just surface exploration. We've never stopped doing AI. And so along the way, we've continued to advance different AI algorithms, and we were actually the first organization in the world to send a deep learning algorithm to the moon. Unfortunately, because of the landing being a little harder than expected, we weren't able to actually demonstrate inference on the lunar surface, but we knew that our AI payload was working in lunar orbit, and we achieved a lot of milestones along the way. We also demonstrated a deep learning algorithm aboard a European Space Agency Earth observation satellite. And both of those algorithms were deployed using our Spacefarer AI platform that lets engineers deploy deep learning algorithms on space-faring embedded systems. And that leads us here today. The announcement today, which is, I think, the next giant leap for AI in space in Canada, the Persistence mission. The Persistence mission will demonstrate resilient, onboard spacecraft autonomy over a year-long demonstration of deep learning AI in space. And for us, this is a lot more than about Earth observation. Earth observation is important, but this is about updates over the air, validating a model in real time, measuring model parameters and performance, and proving that AI can be trustworthy and be used in all sorts of upcoming applications. And to note, this is not like ChatGPT. This is not a language learning model. This isn't high power. This is low power, very specific optimized algorithms that have a very specific use case on low size, weight, and power computation that could be used in space, ushering in the entire next generation of AI in space. So it's an honor to be here today to announce the Persistence mission. Thank you to our partner Spire, and of course, the support of the Canadian Space Agency.
Bonjour tout le monde, comment ça va? Bon non, c'est pas si là, s'il vous plaît. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? C'est mieux. We are so proud to see the funding when the Canadian Space Agency makes such a difference in extraordinary Canadian companies and allows them to take their investments even further into the cosmos and take technology to the next level, like we're seeing with you, Ewan, and your amazing team at Mission Control Space Services. Machine learning and artificial intelligence are opening new possibilities for space technologies. And it's so inspiring to watch and support companies like yours grow on the global scene. So thank you to you and to Spire for partnering in such a powerful way. We're well positioned when it comes to teaming up with global space sector, and that shows the strength of the Canadian industrial capabilities. So congratulations on this partnership. We look forward to seeing your continued success. All the best.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you very much to our respective speakers, and it is indeed a giant leap for AI in space. So now we're going to open the floor for questions. For the sake of time, we will limit one question per person, and we will ask you to please introduce yourself when you're starting. So please, if you have any questions to us, we're looking forward to answer them. Yes.
Hello, thank you. I'm Dr. Natasha Nicholson from Star Helix. We work in Scotland but also internationally. And this is a question for Spire. I'm wondering, are you looking to collaborate with other Canadian companies? And if so, what type of companies?
Thank you, Natasha.
We were just talking about this right before the press conference started, that this is a great first example of how Spire can play a role to help build out the Canadian ecosystem. We have a space services platform that if you have a payload or a capability that you want to get into space and you don't want to have to do any of the rest of the satellite technology, dealing with the licensing, dealing with operations or ground stations, we would be very glad to have our team have a conversation with you to see how we can help support you.
Canada is a great place to do space business. We've got hundreds of amazing, innovative companies, and if you look at our 26th State of the Space Sector report, you'll see they're very export-oriented. 50% of their revenues comes from business abroad.
Thank you so much, Teresa and Marisa. Any other questions? Yes, please.
Clive Simpson, I'm editor-in-chief of Room Space Journal. Could you tell us a bit more about when the mission will be launched, and also what kind of actionable insights you'll be getting from it in terms of AI and the like?
Thank you, Clive. I believe it goes to you.
So, no earlier than next year. And this is an RGB payload, so an optical payload that is looking down at the Earth. And what we're going to be doing is, rather than downlinking all that data, and a bigger mission would be spending millions of dollars to do that, we're going to be processing the images on board, and we're going to be classifying what we're seeing in the images, and then we're able to actually downlink an insight. So an example we may or may not do on this mission would be, we think this is a forest fire. We think this is a dark ship. Different applications depending on what the payload would be. For us, it's really not so much about the RGB payload, it's about the platform, the machine learning operations pipeline. It's about the verification and validation, and ultimately the trustworthiness of the AI. And if over a year we can prove that AI can be used in this way safely, effectively, reliably, the opportunities are endless in terms of what it can be used for.
Thank you so much, Yuan. Any other questions? Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Dr. Anna Peral. I'm with the Aurelia Institute in Boston, but I'm a dual citizen of Canada, so I'm always interested to see what's going on in another country. Question for, I guess, anyone is, so I did my PhD in autonomy and AI for space habitats, and the big issue is really just like flight heritage and what data you're training on. So I love seeing that this is flying. My question, if for you, is sort of what is the primary follow-on mission in your mind of like what the system will be able to be used to do, or applications beyond that first demonstration mission?
It's a great question, and the model, the data to train the model is one of the enormous problems when it comes to space applications. As I said, we sent a deep learning model to the surface of the moon. How did we get thousands of images of the moon to train it, right? They didn't exist. So we actually built a 4,000 square foot moon yard, again with the support of the CSA, and we put co-op students out there. We took tens of thousands of images from different angles and perspectives, and we trained the model. And then we also made a plan that once we're on the surface and once we're operational, we're going to use the initial images that we get to do a model update. So we can do some retraining. And I think on this mission we're going to do the same thing, and again, that's going to be part of the big outcomes that we get. How well does that work? Is that reliable? Does the model further degrade over time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And then in terms of what that can be used for, I mean, it's a myriad of possibilities. Canada's talking about a big robot coming up on the surface of the moon, a lunar utility vehicle, as well as an ongoing program called Canadarm3 that is meant to have a certain amount of autonomy. That's one application. Space situational awareness, rendezvous proximity operations and docking, supporting astronauts. The list goes on and on and on in terms of how we can use autonomous systems in space, if we can trust them. And to trust them, we need space heritage. That's why this demonstration mission is so important.
And as you know, we're going to the moon. We've got a Canadian that'll be flying around the moon. We're right now building Canadarm3 for the Lunar Gateway. We've got a lunar utility vehicle that will be on the surface. We've got a science mission going to the south side of the moon to help with the international search for water. So as humanity returns for a permanent presence on the moon, all of these capabilities are going to be essential.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Yes, sorry, gentleman was first.
Hello, my name is Albert, registered from Polish Space Agency, from Polish Space Agency and Polish Academy of Sciences. Yeah? Okay. I would ask if Canadian Space Agency has plans to create own satellite mission to maybe map the moon for searching the minerals on the lunar surface, of course, for in-situ space utilization, space resource utilization.
That's a great question. Thank you so much. So look, we and other international partners are just now looking at what is the architecture, what are the requirements on the surface. For the moment, as I mentioned, we've got Canadarm3 for the Lunar Gateway, which will help assemble and maintain that space station in orbit of the moon and support astronauts when they're there, but also look after the gateway when it's not crewed by humans. For the surface of the moon, we have a science mission to the South Pole, as I mentioned, looking for the search for water ice to help support life and also as fuel. Further missions. We've got a lunar utility vehicle that is underway right now to support humans living on the surface of the moon, and the capabilities are really endless. So the message to industry, as you see public agencies plan for this, if you think that you have something that is viable for that architecture, that will be an international architecture, now's the time. Bring your ideas forward, because humanity is returning for a permanent presence to live, work, play on the moon, Mars, and beyond. Anything you'd add?
Canada's a huge part of it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mark Williamson, Room Space Journal. Can you say a bit more about the financing? Just for this, what I presume is the technology demonstration mission, and then later on the next mission. So where's the financing coming from? Is it coming from the space agency alone, or elsewhere?
It's a great question, and it links back to the previous question about technology demonstration. Right? So we, as an industry, it's really hard for us to commercialize, to sell something until we can prove it works in space. I've tried to go to someone and say, hey, will you buy this and use it on your space mission? And they say, have you used it? And I say, no. And they walk away. So the CSA recognizes that. The Canadian government recognizes that. And so under a program that was called Technology Development, we submitted a proposal, a competitive process, and we're one of several companies that were awarded a contribution. And so the CSA is contributing 75 cents on the dollar towards the total cost of our mission. We have additional costs as well, so we're spending money, we're making an investment, the CSA is making an investment, and through that, at the end of the day, we helped to validate the technology, de-risked it, advanced the TRL, proved it out, and by the end of it, have X number of signed contracts selling an adjacent technology. commercializing.
Canada's got 60 years of experience doing this, and so our heritage of picking those technologies that will be valuable in the space enterprise is something that we've been doing for a long time, and we nurture those industrial capabilities at a very early stage so that they can then become sought after around the world. And you see it, so many examples of it. Our synthetic aperture radar capabilities, our robotics capabilities, now the incredible capabilities in computing and AI on the moon. So we're very proud of today.
I'll just add something. Part of this is also what makes it great to use the space services versus going and trying to build a satellite from scratch when you're really focused on AI. And this is something that really makes it a cost-effective partnership where a company like Spire can focus on the underlying technology that we already know, that we already build regularly for ourselves, which makes it very effective for a company like Mission Control to focus on their core skill set.
It's also, we were just talking earlier, it's something that's really important as the world is focused on the issue of cost and space debris. What are more efficient ways to test and trial space technologies? So shout out to Spire for novel business models.
Thank you very much. Any other questions from the audience? Yes, please.
Hi there, my name's Derek Harris. I'm from Skyrhoda in Scotland. First of all, this is amazing from what it sounds like, and so it's great to see this collaboration happen. And I think my question is really, it's a bit of a two-part one with that. One, will we see further missions with Mission Control and Spire if this is successful? And two, is this open door policy coming up now for collaboration with Canadian companies and UK companies, but European companies and everyone else?
Thank you very much, Derek.
First of all, hello. My name is Lisa Campbell, Clan of Argyll. Yeah, goes way back. Really? Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll have to talk after. But Canada is a long-standing cooperating state of the European Space Agency since 1979. We have an amazing arrangement that gives us access to European markets for Canadian companies, and it's extraordinary. It helps us build a strong, competitive, innovative market. Remember I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if you were here, but all of our companies are export-oriented. 50% of their revenues come from a global market. Some of it's North America, but a huge portion of it is Europe and elsewhere. And in fact, we are building now connected care modules for healthcare in space, and we are collaborating with UK Space Agency and UK companies to build in that technology. So yes, very much, Canada is open for business around the world, and we welcome your contributions, we welcome your partnerships with Canadian agencies, and in many instances, this is one example today, but there's many instances where we've supported a Canadian company that then helps them blossom on the world stage. Thank you.
The only other thing I can add, as you know, we have a large presence in Glasgow. We also have a presence in Canada, in Cambridge, near the University of Waterloo. And I think many countries and space agencies around the world today are very focused on international partnerships, because at the end of the day, that's what the sector needs in the current environment. And so I think all parties are going to be very open to more types of partnerships like this.
I just add to the last part of your question, which is that will we see more collaboration between Spire and Mission Control? I absolutely hope so. You know, it's going great so far. We're on schedule. It's been a great collaboration, and we'd love to work together and enable autonomy on future Spire missions for Spire and all their customers. It's a great point, Lisa. This absolutely creates jobs both in Canada but internationally, right? And quality, high-paying space jobs are growing the industrial base for the space ecosystem, which is so critical, self-fulfilling prophecy in terms of growing this exciting area that we're also passionate about as well here at IAC.
Thank you very much for the great answers. Do we have any other questions from the audience? Then we'll wrap up this conference. If you have any other media-related questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much. You're an amazing crowd, and thank you so much to our speakers for this insightful announcement.